Hello and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Marketing Mondays. No, that sounds lame. I won't say it again. But anyway, as you are aware by now, I've rejigged my channel a little so that now I deliver only one news item, analyzing it from all lenses instead of rushing through three like the Flash. And today's is all about the changes announced by Apple and what that means for us marketers. So last week, we heard the iOS 15 updates due to be rolled out by September this year. Now, Apple announced these in their WWDC 21 conference, which is their biggest developer conference. And like the iOS 14, updates on this one was also high on privacy. Apple, especially under the leadership of Tim Cook, has been taking the privacy issue pretty seriously. In fact, I remember them advocating for privacy, which they believe to be a fundamental right. But before we dive into the updates and how marketers should prepare for it, I just had to share this tweet which had me in splits. And it's a very apt description of what's happening, to be honest. Okay, so what are the feature updates and why should marketers or even email marketers care for that matter? The first feature was the hide my email one. For those using iCloud, they now have the option of creating dummy email IDs whenever they sign up for newsletters or at an e-commerce site or whatever. Burner emails, if you will. And while that actually hides your actual identity from the person collecting your emails, you will still get value from the same directly in your inbox. Pretty cool, right? The next and most significant development is related to disabling of pixel tracking. But wait, if you're a dummy like me, then you probably had no idea of what pixels were before you heard of this update. So a quick brief on that. So pixels are basically small snippets of HTML code which are typically embedded in your web page or your email, which can track whether you've opened an email or which part of the website you visited and stuff like that. And it is so small that you can't, it's typically a 1x1 pixel image that's embedded in your mail, and it's so small that you cannot really see it, but it sees everything you do once you open the email and logs all of that data into a file, which is then sent back to the originator of the email, who uses it for retargeting. So every time you open your email, the pixel gets downloaded and gets to work. So what all details can a pixel track? Okay. So first they can track the operating system that you use, which gives information on the kind of mobile device or the laptop that you're using, the type of website or email used for example, your mobile or your desktop browsers, the type of client used for, if it's a typical browser or a mail program, the client screen resolution, the time of the day the email was read on the website, activities on the website during the session, which can be tracked using multiple pixels, and the IP address, which gives information on the internet service provider and your location. Not trying to alarm you or anything, but the biggest criticism of tracking pixel is not their very intrusive nature of tracking, but the fact that the end user has absolutely no idea that they're being tracked in the first place. And according to GDPR, users must be intimated whenever some information of theirs is being collected and used. So what does this mean for marketers? First, let's get to some numbers. About 45% of mobile users are on Apple. So the loss of open rates, behavior, location data will bring about significant changes because you'll no longer be able to test out your hypothesis as well as before. For starters, you can absolutely not use IP addresses to target your consumers anymore. And in order to entice consumers to share their data with you, you have to offer something of real value and equal value to them. And we'll have to go back to the basics for that, because before the internet, how was it that you'd get to know your consumers? You'd ask them questions, you'd talk to them before you pitch your product, you'd make them feel valued. And it wouldn't be really that much of a transactional issue as much as building a relationship. So that's where marketing, in my opinion, will be headed for after these updates come in. Next, it's not really just all doom and gloom for marketers. because they should and they could start focusing their energies around the bottom of the funnel conversion. Sure, at the top of the funnel, you're not going to know who the email ID is, where they've come from, what their behavior is. But once they've signed up and shown an intent for your product or your service, it means that they are able to see value in what you're offering. And that is where you should be able to focus your energies. Of course, the base that you would be working with would be much smaller. But because you're focusing your efforts where the dollars are, it's actually going to be better for marketers. Also, we will see a move towards SMS and WhatsApp marketing in the future, where businesses will be able to track what kind of messages gets viewed if you have the read receipt on, what kind garners a response if it's a chatbot and you're getting a yes no sort of an answer, or some sort of a key from the call to action from the consumer on which they click on. So that could be another update for marketers to watch out for. And finally, the last update, which I found very fascinating from iOS 15, was a privacy dashboard. Now this will show users which apps or emails are collecting their data and when. It's in continuation with Apple's app tracking transparency feature that was released in iOS 14. Users will be able to have an overview of where they've given permission to access data, what their data is being used for, and see how often the data is being accessed. As well as also see how often they use the app. That's also interesting. But research shows that, so now everyone's wondering that, if everything is going to get masked and you're not really asking consumers to pay for services, then how are businesses going to survive? But you know what? Research has shown that users are generally quite happy to share their data if they find value in what is being offered. Buyers also expect to receive personalized and relevant content as a part of their trust in your brand. However, what I found a little disconcerting, or rather contrarian to all these privacy efforts that Apple is taking, was their announcements on payments, identity and health data. They've announced that Apple Watch will be tracking a number of other data points about you, and that you can share that with your friends, family and medical advisors, insurance folks too. And then there is their Apple Identity Wallet, which is essentially like a digital locker of sorts, where you can store all your identity proofs in one place. The aim is that in the future, you will just need this one identity proof, this one Apple Wallet, your Apple Identity alone, to identify and authorize yourself anywhere. It can act as a digital passport of sorts and will have literally every data point about you that identifies you as you. And this will all lie with Apple. This sounds slightly monopolistic to me. And all this is tied in with Apple Pay, which has the visibility on what you buy, when you buy, which is giving Apple a whole lot of more power. And while they are not really sharing this data with third parties that will target you, but that is not fully off the table yet, is it? And with that, we come to a conclusion of today's episodes of Marketing Monday. If you like this series, then do consider giving it a like, share it with your friends who you think will enjoy, and do consider subscribing to my channel so that you're notified the next time I put up content around the same piece. Also, if you felt that I could have added something more or I missed something out in this video, then do feel free to leave a comment below and I will definitely get back to you. With that, as always, stay safe and be healthy. Bye-bye.